What's the best way to cook a steak? What's it like to start a business during the pandemic? What's the deal with keto? Hi, I'm Dave, and along with my partners from FourFathersFoodCo, we'll host a weekly podcast called Kitchen Mix. Each week, along with some great knowledgeable guests, we'll chat about the topics related to food, small business, nutrition, and many others. At the end of each episode, we'll share a delicious recipe, details to what we drank, and a cool DJ set. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Kitchen Mix podcast. It's episode number 1, and we're excited to be here today. This is our first podcast as a company of FourFathers, and we wanted to launch just an open mic session about learning about businesses, nutrition, food, music, and just about us. Tonight is about us. So FourFathersFoodCo. So I'm super excited to be hosting this podcast, as we're going to do a weekly podcast. And joining me tonight are the dads that are great friends of mine, who are all part of the FourFathersFoodCo brand. Nelson Lemos, John Pontoni, and Chef Dino Pontoni.
Oh, man.
And, obviously this video podcasting is probably new to most of you guys, and except for Nelson here, which he's a veteran podcaster. He's been on my show.
2 shows. I'm a veteran.
Yes. two shows.
I appreciate the opportunity.
2 shows he's been on from my previous podcasting. Listen, guys, thanks for coming on, and thanks for being part of this. I think this is great engagement for our listeners and viewers to learn about us, how we've evolved from an idea and a conversation, how it led to all this. Nelson, I want to just pass over to you first, and just to talk about on how we have evolved in this business. At the end of each podcast, we'll be giving away a prize pack from one of our sponsors. And tonight, our prize pack is brought to you by us, the FourFathersFoodCo. And we're giving away a FOMO pack, which consists of our fucking amazing special sauce we have. We have the cayenne, we have the habanero, we have the piri-piri, and the jalapeno. So that's a prize pack we're going to give away at the end of at the end of the show tonight. How you're going to qualify to win this is you must follow FourFathersFoodCo on Instagram, as well as follow Kitchen Mix on Facebook. And you have to tag a friend as well at the same time. You can enter as multiple times as you want. And we're going to give away at the end of the live music show, the music set that I'm going to be spinning for you guys tonight. I'll be giving away that prize pack. So we're going to talk about more of our company and how we evolved and became the FourFathersFoodCo. So our company was built on heritage and the passion for food. We've been blessed with food, family, growing up in a home with immigrant parents. I'd like to pass on the mic to Nelson and just more elaborate on our heritage part. And each one of us will talk about how we evolved.
As the pork chop in the group here. So I grew up in Toronto, Renton, St. Clair area, and really lucky to have had a chance to grow up with a big family group, surrounded by my first cousins, primarily on my dad's side, that I got to know, crazy enough, after my first communion. I didn't know any of my first cousins on my dad's side until my first communion. And then we've been pretty inseparable since, and COVID aside, I haven't seen a lot of them in a while, but like as a kid, we were surrounded by food all the time. My 2 uncles, my one Uncle Joe turns 87 tonight.
Happy birthday.
Awesome. Yeah, Jose Tiviera, who was a bit of a ball breaker as he was younger. But you know what, like as a kid, like where we live now, this neighborhood is 5 minutes from the farm my uncles had as a kid. So we would go there for years, on Heritage, where Financial Drive hits Heritage. That was my 2 uncles' farms. And from 8 to probably 17, we'd spend, I spend tons of time up there in the summer working at the farmers markets. We dicked around a lot as well. But, it's funny, like my dad's a butcher. I cooked in the kitchen with my grandmother and my mom. We had a bungalow with a massive basement. So our house was the house that we always had family functions at. So it was always just kind of surrounded by it, right? I'm sure the vision of slaughtering a pig the first day at the farm, that's kind of bled into my head. It's like, hey, Nelson, come home with a fucking bucket. What are you doing, Uncle Joe? And maybe that I didn't have to see. Yeah. But yeah, like I was really lucky to have a pretty maybe a pretty traditional immigrant background, like you guys probably would have experienced as well. So a lot of my non-immigrant friends, probably sometimes have a hard time wrapping their head around just how big the family functions were and how loud and noisy and dysfunctional it seemed, but how much fun it was. So I would love to kind of hear how it was like for my Italian little brother.
Well, I think it was like you mentioned before about the basement. That's like the common area where everyone just sort of just congregated, and from anything from, whether it's your dad and your grandfather, just those two downstairs having a glass of wine or whatever it's going to be, the basement was a conjugal place to go to, and that will definitely stick to me, and I'm sure everyone can relate to that because I'm sure they've been there, and they've done that. Nelson, we've talked about how each one of us has a passion for food, and you're also, you dabble in culinary. You love to cook. I mean, I love your cooking. I mean, whenever you say, hey, you want to come over, I'm already there. Like, he just has to say that, I'm already at his door. Yeah. So right, you had me at hello. So tell us how that evolved with you as home chef, and how you got into that.
Yeah, I don't know, kind of naturally. Probably like third year university, I was training a lot. I was trying to stay in shape, and then my appetite was massive. You're on a school budget, so I just figured out I better learn how to cook. So I learned a lot of stuff as a kid, kind of in the kitchen with my grandmother and my mom and stuff. Yeah. But then just started to read a ton. I take it in, and as much as I can cook better than the average bear, like cooking alongside Dino is so fucking humbling. And just seeing that fluidity in the kitchen and how easy it is. But for me, it's just like read a lot. I think I got a pretty decent palate, and like I fell in love with it fully. I had a chance to backpack through Europe in my third year. Wow! I had saved up some money. Told my parents, like, I paid my way through school. And I said, hey, listen, here's what I want to do, and it's going to cost a fair bit of money, but I'm going to make it work. And my parents are like, yeah, go for it. And like being in these little towns, and going to the local butcher shop, the local grocer, and making dinner with what you bought that day. Yeah. And I remember, like, I never grew up having a journal, but for some reason I kept a journal on this trip for 2 months. And there was like multiple entries, some of them kind of like alcohol induced. Sorry, Mom. Multiple entries where I'm like, this is fucking incredible. Like we literally made dinner for 4 of us sitting around in southern Portugal. I'm like, I would love to be a chef. Yeah. The ability of making a good meal means you're going to eat well. You're right. And then in a lot of cases, it also means you're going to have friends around. So why wouldn't I want to spend some time in the kitchen? So that's kind of, for me, where it's kind of gone, and trying to celebrate being a pork chop. Sure. Because,
but who influenced you to do this, or what? To do it? I shouldn't say not to do it. Like, who are some of your influences today that you look at and like, wow, this guy can fucking cook, or this girl can cook?
Wow, it's I don't know if there's like one particular chef, or like I love Bon Appetit magazine. Like, I've been reading that for eons. There's a show on Netflix called Mind of a Chef, and Anthony Bourdain, God rest his soul. That show is fucking awesome. Yeah. If you want to just be entertained, Mind of a Chef is spectacularly written. The chefs they have, they're incredible. And if you watch that show and you don't fall in love with cooking, like, you don't have a soul, in my opinion. Yeah. And you watch some of those episodes, like, Sean Brock, David Chang, like these fantastic cooks. Right. But then you also, like crazy established cooks, like multiple restaurants. But then there's this great episode. It's like David Chang and Sean Brock at the Pappy Van Winkle distillery in like trying this bourbon, and they're getting snapped. Like, by the end of the show, they're fucked. And it's so funny and genuine, but they just love food. Right. Yeah. And you're like, man, like, I think at the end of the day, like, it's that for me, it just love food. Yeah. Love eating it, love trying new things. And, I was lucky to travel to a bunch of different places because of work. So I got to eat fucking great restaurants. It's never hurts when it's on company dime. Yeah. And your customer has a nice flair for food. But yeah, like why wouldn't you? It makes no sense to me to, to go to a different country and like source out like, I'm going to be in Korea. I'm going to source out a Portuguese restaurant. That makes no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why wouldn't I dive right into the local culture and ideally find out, like, I don't want to find out where the tourists are going. Like, fuck that. I want to find out where the staff at the hotel, where they're going to go on a Friday night, where they're going to eat.
Right.
Because those are the places that are the most fun. And I've been crazy lucky to go to a bunch of places like that. Some places a little sketchy, but usually like a ton of fun. And meeting people that, appreciate food. Like it's awesome when you get to know the chef and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Right. You're and to go back into all this, all the different chefs and who inspired you to get into the cooking or just to get some ideas. And you got into your love for passion for craft beers.
Yeah.
Every time I go over his house, I want you to try this beer, this blueberry beer, this strawberry beer, or these different craft beers. So all this branding of your Hungry Pork Chop is your handle on Instagram.
Yeah.
And if any of the Hoppy Floppy, if your Hungry Pork Chop brand, basically is all about the food, the wine. You're very creative with your foods, and that's what I liked about it. I love about it.
Like I'm not doing it so somebody can pat me on the back.
Right.
Like, oh, fuck you.
Right.
Like, you got 7 likes, and you're like legitimately. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
And over the years, you have enough people say, "Holy shit!" Like it would be like I would love to learn from that, or get inspired by it. And then anytime you post, for me anyways, I'm always sensitive about what I'm going to say. And it's kind of this degree of vulnerability. And I said, fuck it. Like I just started posting. And I remember talking to a few of the boys, and they're like the first summer they were making fun of me. And then the next summer, like, dude, like I made those fucking wings. They're ridiculous. And my wife keeps giving me shit because she doesn't cook like you do. So that was kind of the reason behind it. Right? And the craft beer piece, like, it's funny you say that. Like I vividly remember, like on this trip to Europe, which was, I hope my kids go. Like I think it's one of those things as part of the education of post-secondary, like travel for me, that probably had a bigger mark on me.
Life experience.
Yeah. So we're sitting in Bruges in Belgium, which is a beautiful town. Like cobblestone roads, canals.
I love that. I love that.
Like classical music out of the store. And we're in this pub. Yeah. We're in this little pub, and they have like 360 types of brands of beer. And like in Belgium, like beer is like their wine. You know what I mean? And I'm wearing this black Budweiser ball cap. It says Bud on it. And I won it at a bar event because I worked at a bar, at school. And it's 2 of us in a bar, me and my buddy Dave, and 2 other dudes. And the one guy leans over, like across the bar. Hey, Budweiser, American piss water. I'm like, hey, buddy, fuck yourself, because I'm Canadian, number one. And it's just a stupid hat. And I'm not that aggressive. Like, legitimately, like I haven't thrown a punch.
Lean across the table and fucking pound it.
Legitimately, haven't thrown a punch since grade 7. But I was just like, what the fuck? It's a hat. And he's like, you're Canadian? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, then we find out, the Canadian Armed Forces took back Bruges during World War II.
Yep.
We sat there with these guys, and they bought us beer from 15%, like double fermented, like this awesome beer, working our way down to 4%. We were fucked walking out of there. But then after that day, I'm just like, how do I drink like Molson Canadian?
Budweiser.
Right. How do I go back to that?
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And like literally from that point on, it was just this desire to just appreciate it and learn more. And I have a buddy of mine who's in the industry, my buddy Chad, who sells CO2 to, like, he's kind of a boutique shop selling to craft brewers. Every time I go to his house, he's got like stuff right off the line. So I get to try all this great stuff, and it's
nice.
Fucking so good.
Yeah.
So like no different than food, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where these guys are some of it, they're being creative for the sake of being creative. Sometimes it's a little ridiculous. But some of it is just so spectacular. And, it's funny when we talked today and you're like you love Guinness. I love Guinness.
Yeah.
It's a really light beer.
Yeah.
Like everyone has this perception that it's dark. It's
got to be dark beer,
heavy.
heavy.
It's not at all. It's so smooth and creamy. And you start
to
try stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, like why am I drinking, Ultra?
Yeah.
Michelob Ultra.
Oh, we'll pass that over to John now.
This is sponsored by Michelob Ultra, John. John, why do you drink shitty beer?
Yeah. for that person in that bar to judge you that you were an American
It was
because you wore this hat, and then you're like, no, fuck, dude, I'm a Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. And,
But that whole trip was crazy. Like the amount of people that we met that, like, we're pretty decent going guys, right? That went out of their way to tour us around. Like there was this, this family in Madrid. Like we had dinner at their house every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my head, I think back, I'm like, this is crazy.
right. That's crazy.
The mom taught me how to make tortilla español. I'm like, this is bonkers.
Yeah.
And like the older daughter, Amanda,
What was she wearing?
the younger daughter was actually, I had a bit of a crush on the younger daughter.
Okay.
So we meet the sister. Our first day on the trip, and Amanda, she's at the same hostel we're at. We have a beer. We shoot pool for 2 hours, and she's like, "Call us when you get to Madrid." We're like, "All right." So a month later, literally, we call her like out of it, like for a joke, and she's like, "Where are you guys?" We're like, "At the fucking train station." She's like, "I'll be right there." Comes to the train station, grabs us. Like we spent 2 hours hanging out. Grabs us at the train station, helps us find a place to stay, which was awesome. And she's like, "Let's go. We're coming to my house." So, okay. So we're just like starving students, right? We go to her house. It's siesta, right? So she's off work. We get there. Her mom's making us like this great food. And then I took it. Like, I was like, how do you make that? Every day. And then I'm like, these people don't even know us.
Yeah.
And like they literally opened their house to us. Like, that was nuts.
Yeah.
She took time off work, went on day trips. I'm like, it was surreal. But then literally, like everywhere we went, the Canadian flag opened a lot of doors for you.
Oh, shit.
And the fact that we weren't douchebags certainly helped. And we were legitimately really interested, right?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And having a chance to speak to students about what they were seeing. Like we were third year, we met all kinds of, anyways, the whole thing was, I could talk about it for a long time and I won't, but it was bananas in terms of how cool it was. Mm-hmm. And like that trip, if I didn't love food then, like it was, I left there like, I got to learn how to really cook and really experience and try different
and you were in the right places too.
Oh yeah. Like it was bananas. Chicotere. Go for this crazy hike. Like my 22nd birthday, we go on the crazy hike amongst the 5 towns, and we had like this seafood meal. Like it was caught like 7 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so crazy.
Oh, how fresh is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
how fresh
God,
is that?
It was fucking nuts. But enough about it.
I was we have no bottle of wine for this one.
I know.
Johnny.
Davey.
You're not just here because you're good looking. You know that, right?
Want to change seats?
Yeah, I think.
There's
It's.
a moment there.
I'm blushing. I don't blush.
He's
I don't blush
blushing.
easily.
Susan,
I'm
you
blushing.
got some problems. Okay.
I'm blushing.
I think Michelle's got problems.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
Anyways.
Edit.
Anyway.
Okay.
So Johnny, welcome to the podcast, and it's great to have you here. And tell us on your passion, your upbringing, your whole flow when when you're growing up.
Yep. So with us, we have a massive family. Mm-hmm. So my mom is the youngest of 11 siblings.
11, like 11.
Yes, 11
Yes,
siblings.
They didn't have cable growing up.
No.
Was farmland,
No contraceptives either.
right?
What do you want to do tonight?
Okay.
Let's fuck. No.
Nobody pulled out then. We'll edit that part.
Yeah.
No, fuck. No. Sorry, Mom. Dino.
And my dad wasn't too far behind.
Yeah.
They were 6 siblings.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
needless to say, growing up, we were surrounded by family, unbelievable. And the big thing was, even the size of our families, we were always get-togethers. And it was either outdoors on beautiful days.
Mm-hmm.
When it wasn't, we were in basements with just fold-up tables filled with food.
Oh,
and
Gravel floors.
gravel
Miss those
floors.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gravel floors.
gravel
Yeah.
floors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fuck,
And
that is old school.
That's
man.
old school.
so
Oh, my
it
God.
was eating. The kids, the dads were playing cards.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
kids were
Drinking
picking
wine.
up, and we
Did
were.
you guys have like the kids table, and then the dads would eat, and then the moms would eat at the end? Is that how you guys did it?
The kids were at the end.
The
The
kids-
moms were always in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah,
So dad's on one side, mom's in the middle,
Yeah.
kids on the end. Yeah.
And it was, you know what? No video games. I remember after
Oh, shit,
eating,
no.
we were just having fun. We had this game, 5 Rocks, and we were playing
Like
5
you're on a
Rocks.
gravel floor.
Absolutely, right?
And-
Absolutely.
Million Rocks. We're gonna play Million Rocks.
And you know what? The night would fly by,
Yeah.
and it was just great. But again, those days were surrounded by just family, great times, food.
Right.
So that's what I remember growing up. And those events led to, we had 3 or 4 annual events, which was the homemade sugo, which is basically your sauce.
Right.
Those, we would couple up with a few families, and we were doing, 30, 40, 50 cases of tomatoes that would be divided amongst the families and last all year.
Yeah.
And right after that was squishing the grapes. Now they got the machines, but back then it was by hand in the press, and you were cranking
Hand
it.
press,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And that was, again, last in a year. And then from that, it was the charcuterie stuff. So, the homemade sausage, the homemade supersada, and that was for both barbecue season and hanging up in the cantina to dry. So those were things that I remember like they were yesterday.
Right.
And, my brother and I, we still continue that today. Our parents are older now, but we still do that. The sausages and stuff, I lean more to my bro. I say, bro,
Right.
when you're making, think of your younger bro. you're
You're the corner playing 5 Rocks.
That's it.
Right. But the tomato sauce, we're still doing that. And you know what? And those traditions are carried forward with our kids now that help out. So those are great things that I remember, and we still carry that tradition today.
That's awesome.
Right. And now, even though the families are so big, we all grow up and we start distancing. But I'm going to say about 8-9 years ago, we started a family picnic.
Oh, it's a little more than that.
More than
We're
that,
over
right?
15 years now.
Yeah.
Really? Like
Yeah.
every year?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Every year.
So a family picnic.
Family picnic.
Let me guess. Boyd Park.
No.
We started
Up in
That was
Schaumburg.
one
That's
of
where
them.
we started. Boyd
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah, it was in Schaumburg.
Now it's in
Boyd Park was
Schaumburg.
getting a little too small for us. So.
Look at
Yeah.
you.
And you know what?
Not
It's
enough porta potties.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say something
really.
else, but I
Yeah.
I better not say
yeah.
it.
But you know what? It's an awesome event because I'm even meeting up with cousins, 3rd, 4th cousins that have now grown up and have
Right.
kids, and I remember them when they were little. But it's a huge potluck. Everybody brings, and I'm telling you, if you can picture a table just jammed with food and music and laughter, and it's great that we have the opportunity to continue that and have our cousins meet my family and my kids, and that's your cousin, because it's incredible. So you got to keep those traditions alive, and I'm glad we continue doing that
No,
today.
you
So,
did. Whereabouts did you grow up?
So probably till I was like up until 5 or so, we were at St. Clair and Atlas, St. Clair area.
Kind of Dufferin area.
Yeah, around that area.
Fuck, sit with me, buddy.
Yeah, not too
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
Not too far, man.
And then my mom was the first of all the siblings to move out to Etobicoke.
Wow.
And all her older brothers and sisters are like, "What are you doing? Are you crazy, man? What are you doing going out there?" And
So far.
So far.
right?
Yeah.
And she was the first, so we grew up there until we got married, and then moved up to Mississauga. But slowly, everybody else transitioned out, right? But that's where we kind of grew up.
And my uncle moved next door.
Yeah.
So there you go. Got the
But
tradition.
it's almost like the family, wherever they landed, or for example, St. Clair, like they would never think about moving outside of the city.
Yeah.
It's like, why? We've got everything here.
Yeah.
Well, there's reasons why, like, you might get, we don't know what it's like over there. It's like going to another planet for some of them, right?
Yep.
Your love for food, you do cook as well.
She loves to cook, but she loves when I cook.
Yes, she loves when you cook. Now your brother Chef Dino obviously is in the trade, and he's a chef and a fantastic chef. But when you were younger and used to obviously help him out with doing food gigs, like I think Dino, you're the one that would have these gigs or cook for people or family.
Yeah.
And then you'd get involved and start helping, and then all of a sudden, tell us the story. Like, you'd have people say, "Oh shit, I do my backyard event," or So tell us a bit about that.
So if I take it back to the early days, so having come from a large family, we had a lot of family members that were in the banquet hall business, restaurant business.
Right.
So we were exposed to that, and we actually worked. So my first job, I'll never forget, it was 11 years old, because our whole family was working on the weekends at the banquet halls. 11 years old, and right? And
You were valeting cars.
yeah, right? I gotcha.
The stereo's up here.
Maybe we should have John.
I was basically coat check. I was hanging coats.
Wow.
Yeah,
And then
That's a bit sacred.
Make a few bucks,
right,
you know?
Yeah. But you know what? It was, my parents had to work, and
Yes.
they figured we're working.
Yeah.
We're all we're all going together.
No babysitters then, right?
Right?
No.
And I was pumped when I got promoted to the kitchen.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I think that's where I was exposed to it. And then from there, through school, we worked in the hotels, and it was alongside my brother. He got me in because I won't steal your story, but he kind of did. It started where his co-op was, and he kind of got us in there. And to this day, I remember just working the line. I was the grill. My brother was a saucier. We had our buddy Juan Diaz. Shout out wherever you are.
Juan Diaz.
Juan Diaz.
Yeah.
Juan
Yeah,
Diaz.
great guy. And it was the three of us. We were like between 18 and 20 years old.
Wow.
Singing to Roxanne, pumping out.
Pumping out the tunes, a couple of beers on the line.
Oh, yeah.
Kept us going, right?
And, we were pumping out 300-400 people. So, my brother and I, we kind of did some side gigs, and one thing led to another where we were doing some catering jobs, and this thing started getting big, and we were delivering food out of my dad's station wagon, and we were prepping downstairs in our kitchen.
Just on the weekends.
Yeah, just my brother and I, and we're
Yeah,
pumping
love
out,
that.
100, 150 people, and people are thinking,
Yeah.
what? How are you guys doing that? But you know what? When you got a passion for it and you love it,
And you
Right.
want to hustle, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of fucking work.
yeah.
But that's what it comes down to. It's
It's
like
a lot of work.
it's like it's the business. Like in order to make it,
Yeah.
you need to hustle. You need to be hungry for it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and that's like I love these little stories and which ties into Dino's, into Dino's type his story, because obviously you share the same upbringing, obviously, and for you, Dino, working alongside your brother, was he like your bitch? Like he would tell him, listen, go get me this fucking thing and shut up and cut this. And
There you go. He is my younger brother, right? It was just a look. Right? That's a gift, right?
It still happens today in the kitchen. He just gives you the look.
You know
One
what?
eyebrow goes up.
Yeah, as Nelson was saying about how he watches Dino, it's like he has everything. Like he already thinks and knows ahead of time what he's doing. So it's like
exactly.
flows.
It's like so automatic.
Like very automatic, and I guess being in your business of being a chef. I mean, you've got I don't know how big your menu is at your store, but I mean at your place, but you have to be quick and make this and get that ready, that prepared.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about you, your business, and how it evolved and how you got to where you are, and obviously we'll talk about how we got together, but tell us a bit about you.
Mm-hmm. Well, same idea, right? Family always started out, was young, very impressionable by the women in our family, strong women in our family. And I can't say not even all of them, fantastic cooks. Those are the true chefs of the world. Those women that stayed home and cooked those meals for their men and their families, and and took care of. Without them, I'm telling you, we would not have the European families that we do, right? Starting from mom, always there taking care of the family, to Zimaria, Tiantineta,
who else?
Tia Cassie.
Tia Cassie, Zimagalina. No, we never had a Zimagalina. None. Yeah. And Nonna, right? And Nonna Vittoria, right? I remember as being 5 years old, sitting at the table, she would watch us sometimes, and she would take out 2 eggs and a cup of flour, and I would just watch her make that fresh pasta within minutes. She would have like this rolling pin that was probably 4 feet long, roll out that pasta as thin as can be, roll it up, make those spaghetti all cut by hand. Like it was just
all rolled by
hand, all cut by hand.
Cut by hand.
I mean, and every one of them were exactly the same size.
No,
like
we're gonna
that.
go. We're gonna go.
No,
No, man, make you lunch.
Yeah.
No, 5 minutes.
Make you lunch.
And it was literally like my brother
the
said,
best
egg
meals you can
flour.
ever have, right? And I was just so in awe by watching them, just sitting there, literally watching her just do that kind of thing, right? And they were the biggest influence in my life. And granted, Nelly was saying, he used to work up on his upper body, when he was younger, and I worked out on my lower body. So, and the experience, the shows, right? But it was fantastic. Those days that we got together, those traditional meals and the charcuterie and the roasted peppers and tomatoes. It was all the time, and they were always available. And the biggest thing, the most important part of that for me, and I'm going to cry here. No, it's just family, right? It just brings everybody together. And I think, you guys being European as well, like the family is the most important thing, right? And what brings everybody together is food, wine, and that love, right? The love that we share. And it's ongoing, right? It's ongoing. At home, it's the same thing. My wife is a great cook as well. I do probably about 90% of the cooking. I have a 13-foot table at home. I love when everybody comes to my house. For me, it's not work. For me, it's not work. It's pure passion. That's what I do. And I just love it. I just love it. Right.
You can see what you're cooking, right?
Yeah.
So like it looks easy.
And that comes with experience too, right? That's a given on that end. But again, it's just the whole premise behind it is the gatherings, the getting together, the friendships that you grow from there, right? And it's not a matter of how many friends you have; it's a matter of how many quality friends you have, right? And keeping them close and keeping us together, right? Yeah. And that's what it's all about.
Coming back to what you were talking about, like we had like all these strong women, in the kitchen, like my grandmother who's passed, and my mom, both like ballsy women and tough, and my aunts that were super hardworking. But seeing them that day, they made their sides. And they're all sitting in the living room drinking port wine, hanging out. I'm in the kitchen, I'm making apps. My uncles were like, "Oh fuck, this guy knows what he's doing." And it was such a this moment of pride that you could host. Not about them saying, "Oh, that you're good," but it was just that I'm hosting this kind of event in my house and looking around, and the kids are dicking around over there having fun, and we're just like laughter, and it's dysfunctional but so much fun.
Takes you back to when you were growing up.
It was awesome.
Reverse roles now.
Right. It was so much fun. Like, and I think for me, like I wouldn't have it any other way.
No way.
And
and I'll keep doing it. I'll keep doing it until I can't walk anymore. That's just the way I am.
Who had the best hair?
The best hair?
Yeah.
And we both had some pretty good hair.
We saw some pictures, man.
We both had some pretty good hair.
I don't know if I might put it up on the screen. And
did you have good hair too, Dave?
I had fucking awesome hair.
It's flow. It's flow. That's it.
And mix it to some Stevie B.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Spring Love, Diamond Girl. Oh my God, the IROC and
amazing. Yeah.
But you have a restaurant now, so you got into cooking. So you were watching Nonna cook, and then that just sort of just said, like, this is fucking.
I just knew from when I was a kid. Literally, I would bring breakfast and espresso to my parents in bed, and everything. I just knew from a kid that that's where I was going in life, and it just evolved from there. In school, from high school, did some co-op classes. I started with the family being in the restaurant business, the banquet hall business, and everything. I was the same. I was probably like 10, 11 years old, washing dishes, and then went to cutting lemons and everything. And I worked there for a few years, and just evolved from there. I started working in the hotels, did my apprenticeship, so on and so forth, and finally got my own place, Pronto Cafe and Eatery in Mississauga. A little plug there.
You got called out on the blog.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes, you did. You did.
So, and I've been there for 13 years now. A little lunch, breakfast, lunch place, and it's just a way that I'm able to, connect with people again.
Right.
It's an important part of what I enjoy, with the cooking and everything. And, and then we got to this, and started the hot sauce business, about 15, 20 years ago, and just knew that, eventually on my own, I couldn't do it. I had to feed my family and take care of everything,
I know, but
first, right?
But you've always dabbled in sauces, in hot sauces. And I remember seeing them at your restaurant way back when, because we had an event with Michelle's grandmother there. Her, what was it, 90th? 90th birthday or something like that. So we had a little party and, had her dancing.
I think I worked it. Bro, I need you.
You know these people.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just heard about it.
And to go back a bit, how does Verdi Banquet Hall?
Well, Verdi was is my first cousin, Nancy and Mary O'Damo. They started that business. Prior to that, they owned Lagonda Banquet Hall and Conference Center with her sister, Sarah Constantini. That's where I started working. I started working from there.
You know that I got married at Verdi Banquet Hall.
Yeah, I know. I actually probably cooked for you.
I think, and I did get sick. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was fantastic.
Trying to get a deal now?
Yeah. Verdi Banquet Hall is still around.
Yeah, it's still around. Same. They evolved as well.
Okay.
Hockley Valley Resort, and they did fantastic there. And
that's the same family?
Same family, same family. Did a couple gigs up there too, but a little further out. But I worked mostly along the airport strip, you know, the hotels there, not the strip joints, the hotels themselves.
Next on stage, Crystal.
The Flow.
Candace.
The truth is coming out.
Yeah, here we go.
I was trying to make ends meet, and they had amateur night. And, I misinterpreted things.
I had long hair.
The blanket was on the floor. I decided to take the clothes
Started
off.
playing Aerosmith. I didn't know what to fucking do.
I know what I did with that beer bottle. What the fuck? I swear I didn't mind.
To go back into the hot sauces, I dabbled in it. And essentially, we'll talk about this afterwards, how it all intertwined with what we're doing now. With the hot sauce side of things, what made you decide to start dabbling in hot sauce? Obviously, everybody wants a little spice in their food, but you made it because I can tell you're very entrepreneurial. So you thought, I'm just gonna make one type.
Honestly, it started. This hot sauce craze started about maybe 20 odd years ago. And started buying some hot sauces to kind of for my customers and give it to them. And obviously those are the kind of things they're condiments that you don't charge for.
Right.
And just noticed that it was getting a little expensive. So I figured, hey, okay, let me see what I can do here. Maybe I can create my own, obviously costs. I'm a chef trying to keep my costs down and everything. So, I did use that as the excuse and then came up with a few and, I came up with a book of recipes. I had at that time I was doing some corporate catering and I had about 300 people every day to my expense. That were using as guinea pigs. Here, try this. What do you think? Try this. What do you think?
Great idea.
Until I kind of got it down pat and then just kind of tucked them away. And
for sure.
Eventually to today, right? And used Pronto as well as the same. Used the same ones there, and like you said, you saw a few of them there.
Right.
Just
just
a little extra money, that we would make, as part of the sales. And,
the FDA didn't show up at your door, so you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Stuff is so good, though.
It is delicious.
Thank you.
On my parents' side, my parents were born in Italy, but they were Canadian citizens, and they came when they were young. So, when we grew up, I grew up in St. Clair. Just
like St. Clair and Dufferin as well.
St. Clair and Dufferin area. And it was something that I would never forget. And the things that stand out to me is the church that's on St. Clair. St. Nicola, I think it's
St. Nicholas.
Okay. Where I was baptized there. And then, but just growing up and running in the streets at being 8 to 10 years old, you're running in the streets there. But you knew
dodging the
streetcars, dodging streetcars,
Yes.
and chasing the rats. No, I'm just kidding. But when the time came when it was dusk out, and how we also just heard our dad whistle or whatever it was. We just knew that when the time came when it was just dusk, there's two things: either you're going to get stabbed or you need to get home. So to get to the point is what I'm trying to make is that St. Clair was such a great place to grow up as kids because we had laneways, played hockey, we did everything. Yep. And I never forget, this just sitting around a table downstairs in the basement where we all congregated, and my grandmother would make the fresh pasta and the sugo just simmering since 8 o'clock in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. My grandfather his backyard probably had, I don't know how many years of compost, but it was the best garden ever. Yeah. The big tree stumps of the grapes, the vines, massive, that would cover the entire porch area. things like that. I remember that the heritage of what we brought up and the foods that they would bring to us, going to the market, my dad being a butcher, so following him, going with him to the meat markets and seeing what's out there and watching things in action from being alive to, and so it was,
but there's a ton of respect for the animal.
Huge.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter what it is. We as, I'm sure Portuguese or any ethnic backgrounds, we ate every part of the animal. Absolutely. Nothing went to waste.
Nothing.
Yeah.
It was almost like you being in Italy, in back there. And then we moved to, actually I moved up north to Palgrave after that.
Oh, wow.
And
how old were you then, Palgrave?
I was, I think, 12, 13 years old.
It's like it would have been just farm.
Oh,
They just had one crescent, that's it. And there was new homes, 12 homes, I think it was. And it was a general store, fire hall, and a post office and a gas station, right? So, a big change. Now it's like, part of Brampton now.
Yeah.
So we went up there, we lived there, and I grew up there, and I went to Woodbridge. And Woodbridge, it was like it was back in the Gino days. So, obviously the Canada's Wonderland was a big thing back then, the IROCs and, so, and then, for my love for food wise, I respected people that can cook. I respected my mother, and I respect my wife to this day, how she can cook. And, but my passion was music alongside of the food side of things and cars. So a great combination to have. Cars was very expensive, but that's what led to me being a mechanic as a career. The music side was more of a hobby, which I dabbled in a lot of the music as DJing, and that's where I still to this day love it. And we all party up and have some good music, and how music ties in with food is that, we'd go to anyone's house and there's always some music playing in the background, because it just adds to the vibe, and that's what it's all about. The vibe, it creates a great atmosphere. You mix food, people, family, beverages, and the atmosphere is just phenomenal. It's a bit about us, of what's happening, about how we grew up in our heritage. Nelson,
don't touch my mic.
why is it perfect right now?
Yeah. Why does the Portuguese guy get the mic?
Well, then listen. Let's
like all of the
okay,
Italian guys
here,
get the
hold on.
mic. Like it's fucking Mr. Roboto here.
Let's go a little higher.
And I got,
okay, should be good right there.
Just wants a little respect.
So
That's all he wants.
So Nelson, just on the business side of things, how we talked about, our love for food and beverages and just entrepreneurial, because we all have a lot of us in an entrepreneur. Share with everybody the story that bringing this idea together.
Yeah. So, as you guys know, Dave and I had been talking about it for a while, right? Like, I had a chance to try his mom's kind of red pepper. We call it a red pepper jelly. It's like a red pepper hot sauce. It was delicious. Right. So Dave and I started sitting around, sampling it, and we encouraged her to teach us to make it. And then we had this brainwave of, let's launch this. I was working in kind of electronics retail, so I kind of understood retail. And, we had kind of come up with this, notion around what we're going to do and how we're going to brand it. It was Nana's Kitchen, and we're going to logo. And then we started talking at Steph's house, having dinner.
Right.
Yep.
I think it might have been Michelle's 50th, actually.
I think it was.
That was the year that you had 17 50th birthday parties, one party for Michelle. But
Right. Yes, that's what it is.
Michelle asked me to plug that. Dave had the year of 50.
Yeah.
And Michelle had one birthday,
Right.
one birthday dinner.
She had one dinner.
But John and I sat, we probably talked for like an hour at the end of the table talking about what you were thinking of doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, depending on how you want to launch, like the rules are different now.
Yep.
And you don't need to rely on kind of the old school rules. Like, let's launch our own website and create a relationship with consumers and partner with Shopify and there's a bunch of different tools. And then, that kind of led to, why don't we just call Dino and have a glass of wine? And I think the first day we sat around, the reality is I've worked from a business perspective, I'm really lucky to work with entrepreneurs for years and years and years, in different companies. And, it's funny sometimes when I go in and I'm trying to help their business out. I'm like, fuck, these guys are so instinctive. They have such a good business and we're trying to help them. And what I've realized over the years, I have an entrepreneur at heart, just a chicken shit. And I think to be able to sit around with you guys and kind of have that glass of wine that day, and then that led to a few more, where it was just like, why don't we do this? Like it's such a shitty thing to say, like, we should one day do this. Fuck it. Let's just do it.
Yep.
And then like, that was for me, that moment of, you know, what's the worst that can go wrong? Like by yourself, there's a lot to do.
Yep.
Right.
And I think that, I think there was a lot of strength in numbers, right? And instinctively, everyone kind of fell into a certain niche of, you know, expertise maybe. But as a collective, it's so much stronger than somebody trying to figure it out on their own, right?
Yeah.
And it's certainly fucking safer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no kidding.
absolutely.
You know what
absolutely.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
even just like, you know, for me, like yesterday was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like waking up yesterday in the morning, my buddy Baker sending me a text message saying, dude, I'm reading a blog article on you. And we knew that Blog TO was going to write about us,
Right.
but seeing it
Yeah.
and then seeing it, how they wrote about it.
Yeah.
And then like, it was so,
I was blown away when I saw that.
Me
It
too.
was.
Right.
you know, and then like, you know, Sabrina and Rich are sending me photos of, you know, the way Margaret's merchandise the products at Rock Garden in Kellen. And I'm like, that's our fucking product.
Yeah.
Like it still
Right.
blows me
Yeah.
away.
Right.
Yeah. It's true.
You know, and
So true, man.
it's not that, you know, I'm doing this for this massive paycheck. It'd be great if that happened.
Absolutely.
Clearly.
Absolutely.
But the ability of doing it like with friends and like for me at a work level, like putting into practice so many things that I've learned over the years, and having the safety net of doing it with you guys, but seeing it on a shelf is bananas.
Yeah.
And then like yesterday, somebody bought from like Fort Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Trey's like, do you know how to be at Fort Mac? I'm like, no.
That's what's great about it. Seeing
is,
these
yeah.
addresses.
Yeah.
Like one of the guys on my team bought. So I'm like, you know, Paul, you're gonna love the sausage. but like you see these people, and then like you see feedback from them. Like,
Yeah.
it is literally mind blowing
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
And you know, I think if we can kind of hold that spirit,
Yeah.
like fuck, it's so much fun. But yesterday was great. Like you know, your restaurant gets called out.
Yeah.
And, like the storyline, and
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
pretty bang on to what was going on. You're just like, this is bonkers,
Right.
Yeah.
And then seeing like how legitimately people are excited for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like the accolades of it, just like people are legitimately
Right.
Yeah.
happy
And the
for
support
you.
and everything
the
else that comes with
support's
it.
been-
Yeah.
Like the support from like our families. Like,
Yeah.
Like I know Trey puts up with a lot. I've traveled a lot with work, so I've been super lucky. And she was like full on, you know, like it helped out this year. I wasn't coaching hockey.
Mhm.
Like I missed that.
Right.
But like all of a sudden I have like 20 hours back.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Those days of hockey and coaching mindset, your mind was in somewhere else. I had no time for anything else.
Yeah.
yeah, like and
Yeah.
the reality is like if you're like, you know, I took coaching pretty seriously, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, parents are paying pretty good money. We had a great parent dynamic, great
Right.
kids. It was so much fun getting a chance to coach both of my kids in sports and seeing them in a different spot. But when everything ended this year, like the timing of it was actually pretty good.
Right. Yeah.
Because it was like, you know, all of a sudden for me, there was probably literally 20 hours a week
Mm-hmm.
that I get back.
Yeah.
Right.
Easily 20 hours.
Right.
Because I'd be, you know, prepping for practices and all this other stuff. And now it's like, all that energy was thrown into how do we get this off the ground, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think all of us probably experienced those days where, you know, like work was different this year, right? So
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a different time.
Especially with this COVID going on and everything.
I don't know what the answer is, but it just irks me that you know, this type of, you know, pandemic is creating such a society and again, I'm not going to go into the politics side because I have my views on it.
Mhm.
Okay. but I'm also very upset at the small businesses that are suffering because of this.
Yeah.
And there's no need for that.
Yeah.
Right. So to come back to our business side of it, to open up a business, to plan it and open it in a pandemic, sales have been great. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of stuff's online, so people aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So online business, the online sales on e-com has been
I
phenomenal.
think this has exceeded our expectations for sure. You know,
Absolutely.
To where we are right now.
And when we launched in what, December
16th,
13th or
16th.
16th, right?
Yeah.
But even on the whole COVID thing, like, and I don't want to get into like, there's just so much noise about it.
Yeah.
Where's your cousin?
You know, there's just it's hard sometimes to process it all. But
Yeah.
here's at the end of the day for me, the way I look at it is like it is what it is.
Mhm.
Now, if I were to rewind the tape and say to all of you guys, you're going to have a moment in time that you're going to spend 10 times as much time with your family. You're going to be forced
Mhm.
to not do this, to do that. And it's going to gravitate to more family meals. Right. You're going to have a chance to invest time into your personal side because your work is different. Would people sign up for that? And I think people would. And, you know, how we got there is fucked up.
Yeah.
But I think for me, you know, and who knows where this journey goes, I think it's fucking great that amongst all the noise, we just dug in.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate. Like, I'm fortunate to work in an industry that it's bonkers how busy it is. And not all of us are in that situation. That being said, I think, you know, even with the struggles at the restaurant this year, like, never once did you come to a meeting and it wasn't about that. It was all about, guys, like, I have different time. I am fucking all in to make this work. And I think for me, that's the piece that is we can't lose sight of. And it's these moments that it's really easy to be, you know, kind of bogged down by the shit as opposed to what are the opportunities that are sitting right in front of you. And I think that for me is what we should be really proud about is that amongst all that chaos, it's like, great, we got some more fucking time.
For sure.
I'm just fucking digging. I'm not traveling anymore. Great. Let's meet on Monday nights. It's easy now. Let's meet on Sunday. You know, like
and that all leads to that. Our daily jobs are, you know, get us the grind, but we also, you know, we use that terminology from, we do the 9 to 5, our day jobs, but we do the 5 to 9, the FourFathers, until we are fortunate enough.
A little bit past 9.
Maybe a little past 9, but fortunate enough that hopefully, you know, later on, this takes off to a certain level that, you know, we are always talking about, and ideas that run through our head. Like, we're not, you know, we all have differences. Like, I am a risk taker. You know, I'm an executioner. I'll go ahead and do it. I think it and I'll do it, you know, which sometimes is good and sometimes is bad because, you know, okay, how about we finesse it? So everyone has such great traits in this company that we can all work together without saying, no, there's no ganging up on that one person. We're here as a team. And,
absolutely.
You know, and again, it's all building our families, our jobs, you know, that's priority number one first. You know, this is something that was a side hustle which started, but then we thought, fuck it, now it's starting to grow. Utilize Nelson's experience to drive in the sales side and the marketing side and drive the connections. You know, John in the finance, you in the created the recipes and refinement of it. And, you know, with me, the music, the media, just being part of this team and being involved in it and we all have this great partnership that formed together, and it's fantastic. So it's in the infancy stages of our company right now. There's still a lot to learn. You know, like our shareholders agreements. You know, we're doing all the major paperwork involved in building a company, a corporation. So that shit is like, sometimes it can be scary, and it's sometimes like, whoa, man, I didn't even know that. But so it's learning, it's understanding it, which is great. You know, I think the cost of doing it by yourself is, I mean, I don't even know what it costs. I mean, like when I started, I'm going to get back to, but I had a company back then doing the automotive side, the tuning, you know, it was a one-man show, but I had, you know, Michelle helped me out in the bookkeeping side. You know, so there's always people to help me out, technicians to help out. You as a business owner, you know, we are HR, we are the finance, we are like, you know, we're the boss, we're general manager, we're everything. And it's tough. You learn from that, you grow balls, and you learn from that, the grassroots of a business. And it's awesome. I mean, you know, Johnny's in the banking industry, so knows everything about the ins and outs of the banking side of it, what to go for, what to lean on. Okay, let's leverage this and let's do this. And this is fucking great. We've been drinking this fantastic wine, and now there is none left. But Dino, every week we're going to feature a beverage. That's part of one of our topics of our podcast. So it could just be wine. It could be a nice bourbon. It could be beer. It could be whatever it may be. On the first episode, Dino brought a nice bottle of wine. So Dino, tell us about this wine.
Well, we have here a Adriano Farini Ripasso. It's a 2013. I am a wine drinker of bold flavors. I love my bold flavored wines. You know, the Ripassos, the Amarones. I like those deep flavored wines. This one tonight has got some great body. The oak really comes through on them too. This would definitely be a red meat accompaniment to this.
Right, good
to
pairing.
those meals, good pairing too. Absolutely, yeah. What did you guys think of it?
I enjoy it. Like, I do love a good full-bodied red wine because then I can think to myself, okay, what would I love to have with, and obviously a good steak, something hearty. So I enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah, do you subscribe to the red, big, bold flavors, or will you have red with seafood? Or do you like you have to pair it with white?
Yeah, you know what? I am not so much a fanatic in regards to it has to be white wine with fish or whatever. I don't believe that. I do believe that wines, white, red, would ripasos or whatever different kinds there are out there. They're about your own palates, your own tastes, what you enjoy.
Right.
And some people don't like those red bold wines and everything, a little too strong or too overpowering. But I do. So I don't so much agree with, that white wine goes with fish and red wine goes with meat. Right. They're great. They pair together greatly, but there's a lot of red wines that you can have with fish as well. Right. So
it's really good.
Yeah.
How much did you spend on us today, dude?
That is 17.
You're setting the bar.
That is 17.95. It's not that expensive wine.
Okay.
It's not
LCBO.
too bad. LCBO, definitely.
$17.95.
Right.
Is this expense through the company, or is this?
No, this is from my personal stock. No. And this is one that I've bought many, many times.
Right.
And every year they just seem to have, their wines are consistent.
Right. And there's different regions of this wine. Like, the
Ripasso comes from, I think a few different companies that make them too. There's quite a few too. But this is an Italian wine.
Yeah.
I tend to go to the Italian wines just because their flavors, their notes
not
are
Portugal, not anything Portuguese.
The Matus, I kind of stay away from, but it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. They're getting there. They're getting there.
We've come a long way.
Absolutely.
Definitely have come a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Just like the Californians, and there's
great
phenomenal
California
wines. Absolutely fantastic.
And
Cabernet Sauvignons, which is another great. There's an Ironstone that I absolutely love the Cabernet Sauvignon.
We have every week we're going to feature something, and I know that, like, a good friend of mine who supplies and has the love for wines that has supplied his share of wines to.
Are you plugging them right now to get us free wine?
Lewis, buddy, we're calling on you. No, I'm just kidding.
Above $17.
Oh no, I don't. Yeah, no. Listen, with me, listen, I love Lewis and I love the way he sends the wine, but it doesn't matter the price of the wines.
Oh yeah, that part's all
Johnny, we talked about the Vivino app. We plug that and plug it in. We can get all about the wines and what's your take on this?
Well, here's my thought.
Okay. Oh boy. There we go.
If we actually had this conversation and my dad was here,
oh shit, what would he do?
He'd say, "Ma ripasso, che ripasso." He says, "The best wine is my wine."
It's my wine.
So,
and that
again,
cantina.
like I mentioned at the beginning, he's still making his homemade wine. So
you like his wine?
You know what? You know what?
There is a huge difference in it tastes. So
yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
And I know that even if I didn't, you got to compliment it,
Absolutely.
right? Because it's his wine, and
God forbid you ever fucking say
you don't offend him, right?
No.
So you know what?
But it is pretty good.
It's a good wine.
A pretty good
it's
wine.
A good wine.
Yes.
I think he's perfected the mix and
yeah.
And now he's not going to deviate, right? Because once he finds that mix, that's his
right.
wine for good now.
Years ago, my cousins John and Paul played on the soccer team, and I bought a raffle ticket. They were going to go to Seda to go play soccer. So they called me up. Nels, you won the second prize. So I'm thinking, this is great. First prize was a trip to Portugal. I'm like,
oh my God.
Second prize got to be pretty close. It was 6 fucking barrels of wine.
6 barrels.
Barrels of wine. So I spent the day down on Caledonia with this old pork chop. Like, he didn't say a word the whole day. He's like this.
Oh yeah,
it's the whole day.
He's scared.
And he puts the cap on. He would do it,
and then look at you.
He wouldn't say the whole fucking 6 hours. He would bottling it, and I'm capping it. I had so much red wine, and it was red and white, And thank God for my dad's 65th birthday, we gave a bunch of bottles away.
Some
We did this
vinegar,
really cool label for my
made vinegar.
dad. So we had wine like everywhere. And I remember when my daughter was 7, it was the first time, it was the same year. So Reese is now 20. So my buddy John had one of those like, I think it's called like a wine stick where you kind of can.
The acid level, the acidity level?
Yeah, it's like the sulfite level. You can tell
Sulfites, yeah.
it's like how long it needs to age for. He's like, and it could have been all bullshit anyways, right? He's a good storyteller. He's like, we try it, keep trying it.
Yeah.
7 years.
7 years is good for it.
7 years, thing's gonna be fucking beautiful.
After that, vinegar.
So over the years, like we kept whittling it down, right? Whittling it down. And I had one bottle. I'm like, Reese, when you turned 14, it was fucking vinegar. Like it was so bad. And every year we'd open a bottle like, Trace, almost there. Trace, like, you're an idiot. Like, just cook with it.
Yeah.
Like, no. It's going to be great. Johnny said it's going to be great.
Best salad we ever had.
It was so
There you go.
bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Well, I think every week we're going to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk about business. We're going to have we'll have guests on our show, whether they come into the studio or whether it be virtual. We're plugging us tonight, and after the show, like I said, we're going to give away a prize pack, our FOMO pack, which is the habanero, the jalapeno, the piri piri, and the cayenne, the sauces. And I'm stoked because I love the fact that we're in 25 stores across Canada right now, and growing. And the blog TO that came out with that article, obviously saw a spike in our online presence, which was fantastic. So it is awesome. So I hats off to blog TO for writing this article about us. Cheese Boutique this Sunday is Saturday and Sunday, April 10th and 11th, the food truck takeover. Dino, we created the menu. It's delicious. I can't believe that we're actually go through with this because the food.
We tried it already. So
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I tried the chicken.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
At the house.
It's awesome.
So Dino, just in a few points, just tell us the menu what's going to be on this weekend.
Well, it's not too extensive, but sticking to a little bit of our Italian heritage here, we're doing a traditional porchetta sandwich with the crackle, some roasted peppers, and a rapini aioli, and a nice Italian crusty bun.
Nice.
We're doing an eggplant sandwich.
Okay.
Very simple for the vegetarians who enjoy those kind of meatless, absolutely, sandwich as well. And we're also doing a little non-Italian. We're doing a Canadian maple chicken and waffle sandwich.
Oh my God!
With maybe a little habanero in there too, kick it up a little bit, and a pasta finishing with a pasta fagioli as well, traditional pasta fagioli. So it's a great little menu, easy to eat. The flavors are bold; they're great flavors, very traditional flavors too, along the Italian lines.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully everybody will enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll pair well with the sauces too.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Like that.
And they'll have choices. They can. We're going to kind of give them the choice to pick what sauce they want with their sandwich, if they want any at all, which is optional as well. But yeah, this should be should be a good turnout, and hope everybody enjoys the meals.
Oh, I think just to showcase Dino a bit more in this, the creativity this guy has, and obviously Pronto Eatery in Mississauga.
Yep.
Jerry Road and Tompkin.
Yep.
Gotta go visit them.
1 block south.
1 block south. Breakfast and lunch.
Yep.
On the west side.
On the west side. There is seating in the kitchen. No, I'm just kidding. But Dino, I think the whole precedence about that weekend is, the food truck takeover, about you create the foods, but also we're launching our product launch of our sauces that weekend at the Cheese Boutique. 6 Ripley Avenue. So I'd like you guys to all come down there, support us, support the company, support us, Dino, John, Nelson, and myself. We're all going to be hands-on. I'll be playing some music for you guys. We're very COVID compliant, so it's not like we're doing anything illegal. So
Maybe not
right now, but anybody that wants to join us out there, come by and say hello, support us. We've got $1 off special events pricing on our sauces in the store and through us. Anything else, Nelson, you want to talk about?
Yeah, no, come down, check out the store. The store is awesome.
Yeah.
The family has their kind of fourth generation. They do a great job. Tons of passion for fresh food, especially cheese. Obviously, I've had a chance to be in the cheese vault before.
Wow,
and
phenomenal
just
choices.
like the you walk in there and you're kind of smacked in the face with this kind of just no, in a good way. The
Yeah, I
aroma
know.
of the store, right? Like the separate little butcher shop and the fresh produce, and the fact that the family has decided to, give up the food truck, which was kind of a viable portion of their business in the past, but they've given up the food truck every weekend, primarily for restaurants to come in and build their brand and cater to customers. So for us to use that as a platform for our official, maybe public engagement as a brand kickoff is fucking awesome. And then walk into their store, and right behind the deli counter on the end cap is our product, which again blows me away. So it's super exciting. But I think just for people in the neighborhood, or people who want to come down, it's a great food experience across the board. Absolutely. So we're super thankful to the family for helping us out.
Right, and I can't wait to be down there. You said about product on the shelf, and we've had the ability to visit some of our retailers. Just seeing that, and I'm going to call out Bradley Meats. They've been Carlo and his father. Their company's a small little butcher shop, wholesale butcher shop. Probably our highest buying of our sauces.
They've been awesome. And Carlo's been great, like super supportive online, engaging, open to ideas. And his product's awesome. I put some of his calabrese spice on my burger this weekend. It was ridiculous. And I brought bought some short rib from there. And then, like Mario Meats and some of the product, the turkey I bought this weekend from there. So it's cool, being able to work with retailers that are also give a big shit about their product, and really focus on the customer and the quality of their product, and they're in it for the right reason. We
help educate them. They want to know about our product because they're the ones that would say, okay, a customer would walk in and say, what do I put this on? We went to Mary Meats on the weekend, and we saw this late, and they have a great selection of hot sauces, and ours is there, which is great. We saw this lady walk up, and she's looking at the sauces, trying to pick which one she wants, and no. So she went back. Laura, who was one of the owners, came up with her and grabbed one of the other ones, another sauce. So as we go to the counter, I know I wanted to throw a little sopressata at them, but no. So we go to the counter because he bought some food there, and say, "Hey, Laura, we just happened to stand back and watch what's going on, and we couldn't help noticing that you picked so and so sauce." She goes, "Oh, she wanted a less spicy, like a very less spicy peri peri sauce." Which we're going to release. So we've got in that conversation, we are coming up with a less heated peri peri, same flavor, just half the heat. Just going to cut down the heat levels a bit. But also we've got another special of the hottest with the scorpion pepper. So for anybody who wants the fire burning sauce, it's going to be coming out as well. So look for that coming out next May. We're going to have our launch of our
should be at the end of May. Yep.
End of May. So Dino's in charge of our production as well. So he's the guy who's going to let us know. But again, to go back to this we're just excited that we can see our product on the shelves of retailers, and I'm proud to be part of this team and growing with you guys and enjoying what's going to happen in the future. Absolutely. For food, passion, family, business, friends, whatever. Everything's going to be all uphill, man. It's going to be fantastic.
Looking forward to the journey.
Absolutely. Guys, I want to I want to thank you all for coming to my studio and talking as a group. And we want to do this. I know we can't all meet up every week. I know it's kind of tough, but I'll sort of just drive the conversation and the podcast, and whether we have Nelson or John or one or two or three of you guys come back and we'll have a guest on board. I just can't wait to talk about next week's show and how, we haven't got a guest yet, but we've got great content planned for next week, and it's going to be fantastic. Our shows are every Wednesday night at 9:30, and we're going to be on. You'll stream it live on FourFathersFoodCo.ca, and there'll be a special link on there, which we'll have to create for you. All on social media at the Kitchen Mix on Facebook. We're going to be on Live TV, so streaming on 3 channels right off the bat, and at 9:30. And after the podcast, I'll be spinning a live set of music where I'll be giving away our prize pack that is sponsored tonight by FourFathersFoodCo. And gentlemen, salute.
Salute, the
Cheers.
boys.
Cheers.
To a journey.
To the future.
To the future.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Kitchen Mix podcast, brought to you by FourFathersFoodCo. Hit up FourFathersFoodCo.ca and click on the podcast episode link.